What is going on, guys and girls? How are you doing today? It's Single Roleplayer here once again. Today I want to show you a big update to my most famous popular build, which is the Toxic Rain and Herald of Agony Pathfinder. If you ever Google this skill, you'll probably stumble upon my build. It's have over 150 pages in Path of Exile forums. So I terribly wanted to keep it up to date because everything has changed quite massively in the 3.6 patch. So let's take a look what is gonna happen and what are the updates upcoming. Alright, so here is the a very short version of what is changing to the build. I always write it down on the forum to keep it easier for you to understand what is changing since the past version. Okay, so first of all, there is a new skill gem called Malevolence Aura. There's also new items like the Maloney's Mechanism as well as Circle of Nostalgia Ring, which also resulted in that we need to take more reservation in order to fit this Malevolence Aura. Part of the building has also been updated for the Lion's Glare version, and keep in mind that Quill Rain part of the building link is going legacy now because it's completely ruined by the nerf, and Quill Rain is only good as a leveling weapon now, but for the end game it's practically useless because it's 40% less damage, and this is all damage, not just weapon damage like it previously was. It's all damage, so it cuts everything by 40%. It's practically useless in the end game, right? I also added a Vicious Projectile Elder Crafted Bow as a Lion's Glare alternative. Finally, there is a bow that I can say is safe alternative to the Lion's Glare. It's not easy or cheap to craft. It's like 3, 4, 5 exiles to craft. It's pretty expensive, but at the same time it even surpasses Lion's Glare in terms of damage and gives faster attack speed, and I will explain later in detail how you can get this. I also added 3 various Circle of Nostalgia ring, and Circle of Nostalgia is a ring that drops in the Nexus bosses. It's currently hard to say if Nexus will go core. It will be possible to get these rings in the next league, for example, or in a standard league. It's hard to tell, but I just leave them for now because they are the best rings in slot. At the same time, I also added Fenumus Weave gloves as an optional gloves. They are slightly less damage than the Embalmer, but are still an interesting opportunity if you want to experiment and get aspect of the spider for additional debuff for the enemies, make them slower. It's also possible to fit the gloves. I explain later how you can fit this. I also added leveling trees in the line of glass section, as well as in the question section here you can see how can you craft a Vicious Projectile's Elder Bow. This is a very good thing with like all examples with pictures, what you need to buy, like how craft one by one step. I'd like to thank the guy in the forum thread and all you guys who gave me an enormous amount of feedback. The thread has grown quite a fuck ton by this time, so thanks everyone for the feedback, guys. So you really helped me a lot to keep everything up to date. So let's take a look at powder building now, guys. So this is powder building, and I'll start by saying what is new in 3.6. We got 3 new things for the build. First is the Malevolence Aura, which I wanted to fit very badly into the build, and it literally increases everything by 20%, and it's incredibly important because it's literally a multiplier to all damage over time, including poison and everything. So it's just 20% more damage technically, but the problem is that just it takes 50% reservation, which is giant, and we couldn't really afford this as easily. And in order to afford this, the only way is to get this node with his charisma. In order to get this node, I had to drop some life here and there, some defense here and there, but overall nothing crazy, still over 7,000 life, but still I needed to drop something in order to get this. Another thing we dropped to get this charisma is we completely dropped these nodes with the Spreading Rod Jewel. Spreading Rod is absolutely pointless now. It has been nerfed. It also doesn't give it increased chaos damage anymore. It's practically garbage, so just drop it. We are dropping this. So the only way to feed Malevolence is to get Charisma now. So we have it in the build. Another second thing that is appearing into the build is the new quiver called Maloney's Mechanism. It's an incredibly powerful utility, like quality of life thing, because it has 3 sockets in there and it triggers a socketed bow skill when you attack with a bow. The skill jumps it will be using here are this, which is Despair, Curse and Hit and Frenzy. It frees up Despair Reservation entirely without Impresence even, so we don't need Impresence anymore, and we don't need Despair and Blasphemy anymore. This is like frees up 35% for us easily. That's another reason why we can fit Malevolence into the build as well. It's not a super reliable way to proc like this combination, because Frenzy by default fires only 1 projectile. This only hits once in a while. Like against the packs, it is not very useful because it will hit like 1-2 monsters in the pack before they die. But for the bosses, this actually works, and this is exactly where you need this little bit of extra despair damage on top. And also a Frenzy gives us 3 Frenzy charges outside of Cold Snap. I had Cold Snap on a falling right here, and right now it's practically useless, so we can use something else like increased duration here for the Immortal Call. Cold Snap is not useful anymore. We can drop it. You can use like Phase Run, for example. You can use something else. It doesn't really matter. Something useful here is for you guys. Oh, we have Phase Run here on the second cast with damage taken, by the way. So yeah. Anyway, there are also great other skills that you can proc. Despair massively, like Blade Fall. Some people also use another Toxic Rain actually here. So when you shoot Toxic Rain from your main bow, it also shoots Toxic Rain from your quiver, which covers a huge area with Despair and cursing them as well. So it also another option outside of Frenzy, but I honestly prefer Frenzy because you don't really need that massive despairing everything. Only against bosses, this is where it is important. The third thing that is coming to the build is the Circle of Nostalgia ring. We have 3 types of rings useful for the build. 3 types, guys. There is the first ring is this, which has increased chaos damage while affected by Herald of Agony, and Herald of Agony has increased buff effect. This is biggest damage boost for us directly. Because it gives us tremendous amount of poison damage on because the Herald of Agony literally buffs our poison damage, buffs everything to us, and buffing this buff, we effectively buffing ourselves. This is pretty crazy, and this is the biggest damage boost you can get out on this ring. Another one is this, which is Agony Crawler deals increased damage as well as increased chaos damage while affected by Herald of Agony. This boosts Herald of Agony and not us. As you can see this in red here, so it's currently not just walking, but I can simulate this by adding 90% increased minion damage, but I just want to mess around editing this item here. But so this ring will buff Herald of Agony if you want to buff your Herald of Agony, and this is really like the cheaper option too, especially in the early game. This can be incredibly strong, I believe, because Herald will just fucking smash everything into pieces. There's level 52 rings, so it's if you somehow can get this, it will be a giant boost for early mapping, early bossing, and literally early game progression specifically. And the first and the most trickiest thing is this, which is Herald of Agony has reduced mana reservation. This works in combination with a couple of different skills. First of all, it frees up more mana reservation for us and allows us to use another things like this, for example. We can use another Blasphemy with some defensive curse or offensive curse. We can use Blasphemy with Enfeeble, for example. The way it works, like for example, you have a pack of monsters which are approaching you or covering you from all areas, and you only can shoot in some one point of area, like for example, and the others around will be enfeebled permanently. I think that's a really cool idea to run both Enfeeble Blasphemy along with the Despair on the Maloney's Mechanism Quiver. I think that's a good idea. It makes you more defensive. At the same time, along with this reduced reservation ring, like I said, we can open up another possibility like Arctic Armor, for example. If you want more defense, if you feel you're squishy, you can easily fit Arctic Armor here as well. And the third option that allows us to use more scales with the reduced reservation is Fenumus Weave gloves, guys. Fenumus Weave gives us aspect of the spider. Aspect of the spider is actually a pretty decent amount of damage on its own. Like you can see, there's Embalmer, right? There's Embalmer, and then we get to the Fenumus Weave, and the damage goes a little down. But if we scroll the stacks, it's already have the stacks. All right. Let's enable aspect of the spider. So here we go. Here we go. Where is it? Give me a second. Oh, sorry. I just misclick. Okay. So if you can see there, the damage goes up. Like for example, this is Embalmer, right, with the ring, and this is Fenumus Weave with the ring. It goes up. It goes up because we have like 3 spider with stacks there as well. I also have aspect of the spider here. It still has a bit of mana unresolved, so it's okay. We're still living there. So I would say that if we compare the Fenumus Weave and the normal Embalmer, the Fenumus Weave is a little less damage. This easy to show. Like for example, it's 260, right? 260. Then we go back to Embalmer. And back to this ring, we have 290. So you can see it's more damage technically. So Fenumus Weave is just a weaker option, but it also gives you more defense because aspect of the spider slows down shit tremendously. It slows down bosses to literally total speed. It's a major strong debuff like temporal chains. So as a layer of defense, I think it's also an interesting option. This is it. Alright guys, into the next part we go. We're pretty close. Just a little bit of information what I changed to the tree as well. I also grabbed this Berserking attack speed here because, you know, Lion's Glare is pretty slow, and Quill Rain, like I said, is nerfed so hard that it's pretty much, you know, useless at this point. So I think that this is pretty mandatory to have. The more attack speed you have in this build, the faster you stack poison, the more stacks you have, the more damage you do. This is pretty damn mandatory. Let's talk about the weapons. Like I said, Lion's Glare is default new bow. We can also get Betrayal quality on this, which is 29% now. It's easily achievable. At the same time, I discovered another Elder bow which can surpass the firepower of Lion's Glare. I won't explain it all in the thread, but I can show you how much damage it does. So first of all, there's 290, right? 290 over here. And then this is the bow I'm going to show you guys. This bow has been provided by this bow has been provided to me by the guy on the forums. He's basically his bow. So what you need to get is this bow, which is +2 +3 multiple crafted different variations of the bow. It's pretty much crazy as it is, but practically, you know, this is what you'll be looking for. This is the thing. This is the thing. So you can see the damage goes down, right? The damage goes down, but in reality, if we go and check this one, enabled, then we see this. You see the damage is higher. It's 335. The only way why it works is because it's a 7 link. It has Vicious Projectiles and +3 on this, as well as pretty crazy amount of attack speed. Look at the stats. +1 to level of socketed gems, Vicious Projectiles, increase physical damage. +2 to level of socketed support gems, increase attack speed, as well as increase attack speed while a rare or unique enemy is nearby. This is a lot of attack speed. This is literally +3 to all gems, and this is some decent amount of physical damage. The only problem will be here is like the quality, but technically you can try it yourself or just buy it from trade. Quality as high as possible results in higher physical damage, so you know it's not really an like easy to get bow. It definitely requires an investment. That this is practically the only thing that can be close to the Lioney's Glare. Lioney's Glare is strong because it has this thing. It has hits can be evaded, so you don't need to care about accuracy at all. This is very strong. It has very high physical damage, very high attack speed, and decent mana too. So just very hard to surpass this bow. Like I said, the only thing that can surpass is this. I also tried different variations, like for example, like this bows, all these bows. I guess it's 250, right? Like this bow, I tried everything, and they all not as good as, just not as good as the Lioney's Glare. Here's 260, 270, like 250, 278. This is very strong bow, but when I click Lioney's Glare, it's 290. So unfortunately, just incredible firepower. Like I said, the only thing that can surpass is a +3 bow with attack speed, as well as increased fees and Vicious Projectiles. Literally, Vicious Projectiles is the only reason why this bow is so fucking strong. Another thing that I want to talk about is the amulet. And for the amulet, there's also another cool options. Since Impresence is still pretty damn strong, if you put Impresence, it always gives enormous amount of firepower, literally the top tier damage at all times. But there's also a cool options you can have, which is the known ailment chaos damage over time multiplier, as well as something useful that you can get in the amulet, like extra stats, intelligence, dexterity, life, fire resistance, some kind of resistance. This is the amulet that I will have for the build right now, and this is a very strong option to the Impresence. The only difference between the Impresence and this amulet is definitely more expensive, but at the same time it can give you something else, like for example the additional intelligence that is necessary for the Wither Totem, for the Val Blight, and for the Blasphemy. Intelligence is very hard to come by with this build, while unfortunately Impresence gives you all attributes, but it's just might not be enough. Like, see, we're lacking intelligence here, but at the same time it has a lot of damage, like increased damage over time, added chaos, life as well. It also reduced the despair reservation and gave in Maddening Presence. But you know, on this chaos damage over time amulet, we can get so much of different things. Like for example, non-chaos damage is extra chaos damage, also nice to have. So that's practically about it, guys. I hope you like the update. I will load all path of building links out there fresh. So keep an eye on my builds, guys. Thanks for watching, and see you soon. First of all, I would like to thank you very much for watching the video. Your likes and dislikes, especially, as they push me forward even more. If you want to see more content, please consider subscribing to the channel. I do daily uploads of role-playing content, being it builds, guides, let's play, stream highlights, and upcoming RPG games. Also, don't forget to follow my Twitch stream to catch me live in action. I do stream daily on working days. I'm a full-time YouTube content creator and a Twitch streamer too, so if you want to support me, you can do it either from Twitch or by PayPal directly from my website angryroleplayer.com. Join my Discord channel too for a place to discuss RPG things offline, as well as follow my Twitter to be notified on any new content. If you want to get extra information like sneak peeks into upcoming videos, plans, different behind-the-scenes footage, you can also join the Unholy Army on Patreon as well, guys. Thank you very much once again for watching, listening to all this. See you soon.